All right, another thing we need to know about Linux for now, you don't need to know much about it, but you should need to be aware that there are two types of users in Linux. There are regular users, and then there is root. Root is the super user that can do everything. As an administrator, you will need to be operating with root authority to do what you need to do. And there are a couple of different ways that you can obtain that root authority. One way is you log in directly as root. When you SSH in to the system, you put root as the username and put root's password. That's generally not considered a good idea. So most places won't let you do that. Another thing you can do is once you're on the system as a regular user, like I'm my RBE000 user, you can use the switch user command to change to the root user. When you do that, you need to have root's password to become root. I honestly don't even know what root's password is on my server, so I'm not going to do it that way because that's not the way I do it when I become root on my server. So that's another way you could do it using the switch user command and specifying root's password. Or the most common way you would do it is to use sudo. Some people call this sudo, but I always say sudo because you're switching user and then you're doing something. You're not switching user and then doing something. So I don't know why everybody says sudo. I always say sudo because you're doing something. But anyway, you can use the sudo command in two ways. One way is you can use it to run commands as root. For example, if I wanted to look in the log file, I don't think my regular user can do that. There's another podcast that should tell you all about cat. But anyway, if I wanted to look at the log file, my regular user doesn't have permission to do that. So if I just wanted to run one command, I could type sudo cat varlog messages, and it would do that, run that command for me. So yeah, so sudo let me run the command. Right. There's the settings for sudo. You notice it didn't ask me for my password because I have my system CNT-serve set up to not ask me for my password. But lots of times sudo is set up to ask for a password, and you'll have to provide your user's password to run the command. So you can use sudo to run individual commands, but sometimes that gets to be kind of annoying when everything you need to do needs to have root access. So in that case, you can use sudo-s, which basically tells it, hey, give me a root shell. So now I've used sudo-s and it started a shell for me. So now I'm running as root by using sudo-s. So basically, in summary, there's a lot of things that you're going to need root access to do once we get to the portion of the class where we're managing our own server. Right now, there's nothing you need root access to do. So if you see me demonstrate something with root access in this early part, that's just me demonstrating it. You don't need to do that thing. Nobody's going to have root on CNT serve. It's just not going to happen. So once we get to the later modules where we're loading our own system, then you'll be root. But I just wanted to let you know it's important to realize that root exists and is the super user that can do everything, and then everybody else is just a regular user.